Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Hope you guys are well out there. Hope you've had a decent weekend in SuperCoach. Oh, what is going on here? Oh, Jesus, there's a lot going on. Not sure how I went. We'll take a look at my side in the moment. I think the rankings have updated. Not 100% sure. What is this? I do not even use Skype. Please get out. Some roller coaster scores, some weird events. Horn Francis, held the Koning, thought Moraes was going to destroy me with the sub, came on, actually scored well. All over the shop sort of stuff. So we'll take a look at my team in a moment. Feeling like there could be a double downgrade on the horizon with Vicentini and Simpson. Don't know. Maybe we've finally got the rookies we've asked for, but we'll touch on that in a second. Look, I did want to get serious for a second. Obviously the biggest news in footy at the moment is around Adam Selwood and his passing over the weekend, which has understandably, rocked the footy world. I've spoken about mental health on here before, and I just wanted to take a moment to do that again because I think it's important. I think in my last video, I reckon I spoke about this when Troy passed, and just horrific. I can't help but I've just been thinking about it all weekend, and you just feel so much for the family. It's just horrendous news and so sad. But I think I said in my last video when I was speaking about Troy, if mental health sort of stuff isn't your cup of tea, skip forward. I get it, it's SuperCoach video, it might not be your thing. But then I was thinking today, I was like, if it isn't your cup of tea, then maybe it should be. Because if you're someone that doesn't suffer with any mental health concerns, then that's fantastic. And you're one of the lucky ones. But one of your friends or your family, they might. So if it's not your cup of tea and you brush it off a little bit, then maybe you shouldn't, because it might not be you, but it could be someone close to you that's struggling, and you need to know when to check in and just check in general. I think that's just the huge takeaway message from this. Obviously just wanted to speak about that because I feel like sometimes people just think you get sad and you're depressed or whatever, but it's so much deeper than that. Sometimes it is just how people's brains are wired. We talk about how some footballers they're prone to doing hamstrings. I think some people's brains, they're just prone to slipping into these depressive states. And obviously, clearly with Adam, I can't imagine losing someone close to me. I could never imagine losing a twin and how the impact would be. But the main thing I wanted to take from this, or at least push forward with this message, was please check in on your mates. If you've got that mate that you haven't heard from in a while, or he's stopped coming to the drinks, or he's just gone a bit quiet, or we saw him the other day, but he seemed a bit off, didn't he? Maybe he's just had a weird day. Just check in with him. And I think it's a message we hear all the time, and working in the mental health space, sometimes I'm like, I feel like we're making steps in this area, but then you get weekends like this and you just wonder, shit, we can't keep losing blokes to suicide. I'm sick of hearing, blokes don't talk. Maybe we don't enough. Maybe that's the point of my whole video. And I think we hear all the time, check in with your mates, speak up. But look, how do you do it? And I've had my mental health concerns over the journey, and I think that's current. It's something I deal with and work relatively hard at on a weekly basis. I've seen psychologists. I've taken medication in the past, and it's something that's, it's a real time thing. I have bad days, probably every fortnight. Not bad days, but you have rough days where it gets tough. So, and I had 3 people shoot me a message. So I wanted to share that. Clearly, I'm not mentioning their names, but I think sometimes we always say it, check in with your mates, but how do you actually bring that up? I think it's a tough one to do. And, I had one mate, it can be simple. It doesn't have to be huge. How are you feeling, mate? All good. Tough news, love hard. And, I had my dad text me just saying, hey, mate, you all right? Which is super lucky to have a dad like that. I I had another mate. Saw the Adam Selwood news. I know Troy's passing was kind of harder than you were expecting on you. Take care. Here if you need, mate. Fucking hell. I didn't expect to get a bit emotional today. Jesus Christ. But I just think it's so important to check in with people. And sometimes that isn't because you're worried about them. It might just be laying the foundations for a chat in the future, you know. I've certainly said in the past to mates, like, hey, how you going, like, mental health wise, you know, like, you traveling all right? Like, I think sometimes we get worried that we're going to enter into a chat that we're not sure about how we can handle it if they're not okay, or, oh, I don't want to, you know, well, we're having a good time, I won't mention it, it'll bring the mood down. You know, it's not something that should bring the mood down, because I think it affects more of us than we think. And if you don't feel like you're equipped to give advice, that's totally cool. You know, pass them on to a professional. But Jesus Christ, I reckon your mate knowing that you're there to talk to him is far more important than any psychologist. You know, sure, psychologists have some strategies and some professional help, and sometimes people need that. But man, I reckon just knowing that you've got a friend or a family member that's there for you to talk to about anything, it's sort of like that safety net, you know. We're walking that tightrope of life every day, but to know that you've got friends and family that can catch you if you do fall off, I reckon that's super important. So that's just what I wanted to talk about in that first part of the video. Obviously, things got a little bit real, but hey, I also don't want to shy away from that, because it is something that's close to me. And yeah, I absolutely encourage you to check in with your mates, check in with yourself. And if you aren't going so well, reach out to a friend. And if you feel like you need to talk to someone with a bit more confidentiality, then call those numbers that they always show, or book in a session, go see your GP. So, but yeah, look, we'll get on to the SuperCoach, and yeah, let's see if we went any good on the SuperCoach. But yeah, feel free to comment below if you are struggling. Like, please do. You know, like, it's not something that we should shy away from. We're not updated yet. Definitely thought we would be. Okay, well, that's all right. I'll still go through my side. I'll tell you what. We'll pause for a moment. I'll have a look at my MVP votes. And yeah, 2,233. Don't know if that's competitive or not. We'll take a look at some leagues and see how we shape up. All right, so we'll take a look at my side, even though I just sneakily did and already worked out my MVP votes. So let's go through this side. Harry Sheasel, again, this role's getting just thrown around all over the place. Traded out Caleb Daniel, scores 97. That's not too bad. I still don't feel... I feel comfortable with the trade out. I feel like that's fine. 97 solid. The role looked a bit better, but Sheasel seemed to play a bit more mid, which, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where they settle in, but as long as it's not half forward, that's fine. Sinclair comes in. Fantastic straight-up score. We love that inclusion. Max Holmes seems to be 130 plus or 70 to 80. I don't know. He's frustrating, Max, but I thought he played okay. I felt he drifted out of the game a little bit, but felt he was all right early, but... Don't know what he scored late, and Bailey Dale, wow, I was 1 week off trading him out, and I don't know, 49 touches. Like, can I be disappointed with a 144? I don't know. Like, that feels a bit harsh, doesn't it? And clearly, I am being a bit facetious there, but isn't it funny to look like? So he has 49 touches, scores 144, and like he's had a game, you know, where he's had 31 earlier in the year, and like I don't know whether he had a lot of cheapies and whether he did not use it great, but he's had 38 effective disposals, not much contested, which maybe, like, I don't know. Like, obviously there were probably a lot of points to hand out in that game for the Doggies. I don't know, because he did it early on too. It's not like he racked up once they were winning, but hey, I'm going to take a 144 every single day of the week. Matty Roberts, 84, I'll take, because honestly, watching it in the moment, felt like he was probably more a 70, and Zach Reed, not as good as recent weeks, but still pretty solid, particularly in such a bad performance. And both of my guys on the bench got subbed off, and I cannot believe Sardal Hooley being subbed off in a game like that. Like, give a younger bloke an opportunity. Like, God, there must have been that many experienced players playing like trash. Oh, strange, very strange. Because he was scoring okay too, which kind of annoyed me as well. But Dacos is a bit out of sorts. I've had a couple of people comment like, oh, what do I do with Dacos? You just hold him. You straight up hold. And that's for Nick Dacos. I mean, look, Bailey Dale turned it around like crazy. Nick Dacos, you just hold. But yes, it's frustrating at the moment. Sarong had a nice score. Will Ashcroft, feel like he's very much holdable. You hold him for a while, but I don't think he's going to be a guy that, you know, stays in my team forever, but he's pretty solid. Luke Davies-Uniacke had a nice score, 110 plus. We like that. Ryan Marrick, a bit like Zach Reid, down on recent weeks, but he might be, I don't feel like he's a keeper. He might be a nice upgrade to a Bontempelli potentially if he ever drops. I mean, the one saving grace was that Zach Butters did score a 50 or a 60. Thank goodness he'll become within reach. Levi Ashcroft, solid, but probably at that trade-out sort of area as well. Elijah Hewitt started very poorly, eked out a 57, also in that trade-out area. And the carnage of Huswaite being dropped, Boxall being dropped, Hall being included on the extended bench but not making the cut. And on Saturday, I'm like, all right, Christian, Moraes, that is, you're on me field, mate. Please be kind to me. And I'm driving over to my mate's place to watch the footy. And the subs for Geelong and Port Adelaide. We got the sub for Geelong. I can't even remember who it was, but for Port Adelaide, Moraes. And I'm like, oh, mate, you are kidding me. Just give me an ounce of luck. And then I'm thinking, come on, just SuperCoach gods, be with me here. Be with me. Just give me an early injury. And Josh Sin goes off early. I'm like, oh, with all due respect to you, Josh, I hope you're absolutely stuffed, mate. Now get off. And he did. And I'm like, the gods have looked after me. And then Moraes was racking him up. He had like 4 touches in 5 minutes. I'm like, the gods are on my side. 5 minutes after that, Horn Francis, bang, hammy, gone. I was like, oh, she's a cruel world out there. Cruel world. But, and look, holding De Koning, what probably hurt for me is, you know, the flex probably would have covered, a lot of people would have dropped that 22 because he would have been their 23rd best scorer. So that's how the flex sort of comes in handy. But for me, De Koning, it didn't help me holding him. That sort of exposed me to the 22. Cherry was fantastic with a 150. Nice to actually have the C on him this time. That's nice. Bailey Smith, like Baz for Brownlow, Baz for Prime Minister, mate. He's on fire. Rankin has scored a 90 somehow. He was putting them out in the full left, right and centre. But, gee, he was very creative and found plenty of it. Warner's been fantastic. Great inclusion. Nick Martin, you'll take a 95 on a day like that for the Bombers. And McRae, again, had this bit of attention. But, yeah, it was a bit quieter. And Zach Merritt just does my absolute head in. When you bring in a guy, I've been umming and ahhing with Zach. I was like, oh, I'm holding off. And, you know, I didn't want to. And then he scored that 160 or 170. I was like, oh, you've got to bring him in. Then he got tagged by Jordan. I was like, okay, these things happen, you know, whatever. It's annoying. But then to see him score that, I was like, unbelievable. Could not believe it. But you ride the highs and lows, don't you? You do ride the highs and lows. Oh, man, I've won by a point here. Let's go through. So we got done there. No, I've misread that. We've lost. So I'm thinking, I've got a feeling Rowan Marshall, who was a popular inclusion, I reckon he stuffed me here because he was on about fucking 80 at quarter time. If he's gone 180, I'll just spew up. 179. Oh, God help us. So I've probably bloody lost every fucking league, haven't I? Literally, I checked the scores, and most projected scores, I was up. This was about 4 o'clock. And then, yeah, obviously the flavour of the week was De Koning out, Marshall in. So, yeah, I've probably copped it there. Anyway, the frustrations continue. I don't think this is updated. But yeah, again, I reckon we'll cop a bit of a drop in the ranks, I dare say. Very frustrating. But my MVP. So I had a look before. It's basically out of Dale, has to be in the mix. Cherry, Smith, and I think Warner has to be in discussions too. Honestly, it's really hard. Like, Zach Reid deserves votes. Marrick deserves votes for almost their their contribution of work over a month, but it's hard to judge these votes when it's like, oh, do I go to a high scoring premium? Or like, I think I gave Reed a vote and maybe America a vote when they scored 130. But yeah, anyway, it's tough. So I've given the 3 to Bailey Dale. Now, I just felt like from a unique standpoint, I feel like not many would have Dale, which makes that 144 a bit more valuable, plus the fact that he's really repaid the faith. So let's give Dale a vote. And he has polled before. He polled a 2. Okay. Let's give him 3 there. And 2 votes has to go to Cherry. I feel like, yes, it's a popular C, but it's nice to have the C on him when he does score well. And he's up to 12 votes with a commanding lead over De Koning. And then, like I said, it was out of Warner and Bailey Smith. You just can't deny the Bailey Smith 156. Like, he's just going insane. Maybe he's stiff to not be on more than 5 votes. I think I've probably scaled him down at times. Same with McRae, because they are just insanely popular. So that's what's tricky with them. Bailey Smith scoring 150. Did that just mean it updated? I don't know. Bailey Smith doing that kind of doesn't mean much for your team because everyone has him, but you can't deny it. You've got to respect it. And I think that just updated in live time. So let's have a look, shall we? Okay, so we moved down 57 spots, but I probably was expecting a bit more of a drop. I don't know if we are in the position of celebrating not going down far from 32,000. Very frustrating, but we'll talk more. We'll talk more when we have a bit more of a chat on the live on Wednesday night. But I am thinking Cooper Simpson looking a good inclusion, as is Dante Vicentini. But so is Noah Anderson. You know, nice price. Jordan Clark, nice price. I've got to formulate a plan to make sure I can get Butters in 2 weeks, but I feel like trainers are ready to go. Reed soon. Roberts has to go. He's dropping in price. I feel like Marrick could be upgraded soon. Hewitt, Ashcroft, all deserve to potentially go. But yeah, obviously only got the 2 trades. I think Roberts does go, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have a suss. We'll get a bit of a sense of it. I don't know how much we can trust some of these rookies. I'll dissect it a bit more as we go. But yeah, would love to know your trade plans. And yeah, we'll talk more on Wednesday night when we go live from 7:45. Cheers.